The emergency alarm rang through the giant space station called Nexus Prime. Red lights flashed in the meeting hall where the Galactic Council gathered. Representatives from 12 different alien species sat around the massive round table, their faces showing worry and fear. Commander Ji-Woo Park walked into the hall with slow, calm steps. Behind him came Dr. Yuna Lee, carrying a small datapad and looking around with curious eyes. The two humans wore simple gray uniforms with no weapons visible. They looked very different from the heavily armed alien guards standing by the walls. The tall reptilian leader of the Saurian Empire watched the humans enter. His yellow eyes showed amusement as he whispered to his aide. "Look how small and weak they are," he said with a hissing voice. "No claws, no natural armor, no poison glands. How did such soft creatures even survive on their planet?" The Galactic Council had been watching humans for 30 years since first contact. In all that time, humans had never started a single war. They always chose to talk instead of fight. When other species had border disputes, humans offered to help make peace deals. When trade routes got blocked, humans found new paths that worked for everyone. Dr. Yuna Lee sat down and opened her datapad. She began typing notes about the different alien species around the table. Her fingers moved fast as she recorded details about their body language, their breathing patterns, and the way they moved. To the aliens watching her, it looked like she was just nervous and trying to stay busy. Mordok, the huge insect queen of the Zephyrian hive, clicked her mandibles together. "The little mammals are scared," she buzzed to her workers. "See how the female one shakes. They know they cannot fight the Ravagers." The Ravager fleet was the reason for this emergency meeting. For the past 5 years, this group of violent aliens had been attacking colonies on the outer edge of the galaxy. They destroyed entire cities and took prisoners to sell as slaves. No military force had been able to stop them. The Ravagers were big, strong, and brutal. They had thick gray skin that could stop most energy weapons. Their ships were built for war, with heavy armor and powerful guns. They moved from system to system like a storm, leaving nothing but death behind them. Now the Ravagers were heading toward the human colonies in the Outer Rim. Intelligence reports said they would arrive in less than 2 weeks. The Galactic Council expected the humans to run away, just like the other peaceful species had done. Kluvix, a being made of living crystal from the Nexus Collective, spoke with a voice like breaking glass. "On it, humans. We understand the situation. The Ravagers are too strong. You should move your people to safety before they arrive." Commander Ji-Woo Park nodded politely. "Thank you for your concern," he said in a calm voice. "We appreciate that the Council wants to help us." Vexter leaned forward in his chair. "Human Commander, you must understand reality. The Ravagers have destroyed colonies with much stronger defenses than yours. Your Outer Rim settlements have only basic shields and small security forces. You cannot win this fight. The Saurian Empire offers transport ships," Vexter continued. "We can help move your civilians to safe worlds in the inner systems. Many Council species have agreed to take human refugees." Dr. Yuna Lee looked up from her datapad. She had been recording every word, every gesture, every small detail about how each alien species reacted to the crisis. She noticed that Vexter's pupils got wider when he talked about transport ships. She noted that Mordok's wings buzzed faster when she mentioned refugees. She saw that Kluvix's crystal body changed color slightly when discussing safe worlds. Ambassador Hyun Choi, the senior human diplomat, had been quiet during the whole meeting. He sat with his hands folded, listening to each species offer help. His face showed no emotion, and his breathing stayed calm and steady. "The Zephyrian hive can provide food and shelter," Mordok buzzed. "Our worker drones will build temporary housing for your people. You will be safe under our protection. The Nexus Collective has empty worlds where humans can settle," Kluvix added. "We have prepared detailed evacuation plans. The Council has voted to begin refugee operations immediately." More offers came from around the table. The Aquarian Federation offered their water worlds. The Stellar Consortium promised jobs in their mining operations. The Ethereal Alliance spoke about spiritual healing for the trauma humans would surely experience. Every alien species seemed eager to help the humans run away. They talked about the Ravagers like they were a natural disaster, something terrible that no one could fight, only survive. Dr. Yuna Lee made more notes. She recorded the exact words each species used. She noticed patterns in their offers. The Saurians wanted to control human transport. The Zephyrians wanted human workers for their hives. The Nexus Collective wanted human colonies under their influence. Commander Ji-Woo Park listened to every offer with the same polite attention. He thanked each species for their kindness. He asked detailed questions about their refugee programs and evacuation timelines. To the aliens it seemed like he was planning to accept their help. "Time is running short," Vexter said with fake concern in his voice. "The Ravagers moved fast once they choose a target. You must decide quickly which offer to accept." "The Council strongly advises immediate evacuation," Mordok added. "Waiting longer will only mean more human deaths." Ambassador Hyun Choi finally spoke. "The Galactic Council has been very generous with these offers. Humanity is grateful for such friendship. In our time of need, The aliens around the table relaxed. They thought the humans had accepted reality. Soon they would be dividing up human colonies, human trade routes, and human resources among themselves. Dr. Unali closed her data pad with a soft click. She had filled hundreds of pages with observations about alien behavior, speech patterns, and hidden motivations. Her research would be very useful in the coming days. Commander Jiwoo Park stood up slowly. The room became quiet as all eyes turned to him. He looked around the table, meeting the gaze of each alien representative. "We appreciate your concern," he said in the same calm voice he had used all day. "The Council has shown great kindness in offering to help humanity in what you believe will be our time of defeat." Vexter's yellow eyes brightened. "Then you accept our evacuation plans?" Commander Jiwoo Park smiled for the first time during the meeting. It was not a happy smile. It was the kind of smile a teacher might give to students who had misunderstood a very simple lesson. "No," he said quietly. "Humanity will handle this matter internally." The room fell silent. For a moment, no one moved or spoke. The aliens stared at the human commander like he had said something impossible. Mordak was the first to respond. "You cannot be serious. The Ravagers will destroy everything you have built." "Perhaps," Commander Jiwoo Park replied, "but that decision, that belongs to humanity alone." Dr. Unali stood up beside him, her datapad tucked safely under her arm. Ambassador Haeon Choi rose from his chair with the same calm dignity he had shown throughout the meeting. "The council meeting is dismissed," Vextar said with confusion in his voice. "We will reconvene when the humans come to their senses." As the three humans walked toward the exit, Dr. Unali whispered something to Commander Park. He nodded once and whispered back. To the watching aliens, it looked like a nervous conversation between scared people. They had no idea that Dr. Lee had just confirmed that every alien species in the council had revealed their true intentions, and Commander Park had just confirmed that humanity was ready to show the galaxy what humans were really capable of. The door closed behind them with a soft hiss, leaving the alien representatives to wonder what the humans were thinking. They would find out soon enough. Captain Minho Kim stood on the bridge of the HSS Defender, looking at the star map floating in front of him. Red dots showed where the Ravager fleet was moving through space. Blue dots marked human colonies in their path. In 12 days, those two colors would meet. Captain called his communications officer. "We're receiving mobilization orders from Earth Command." Minho read the message on his screen. The words were simple, but their meaning was huge. After 30 years of peace, humanity was going to war. Around him, the bridge crew began working with calm efficiency. They pressed buttons, checked systems, and sent messages to other ships. To anyone watching, it looked like normal preparation work. But something strange was happening to the HSS Defender. Hidden panels slid open along the ship's hull. Large weapons appeared where cargo holds had been. The ship's engines glowed brighter as military-grade power systems came online. In minutes, the peaceful transport vessel became a warship. This was happening to hundreds of human ships across the galaxy. Freighters revealed missile launches. Research vessels showed advanced sensor arrays. Colony transports displayed heavy armor plating. Every human ship had been built with hidden military capabilities. On the engineering deck, Temin SEO worked next to his alien colleague, a Zephyrian worker named Buzzik. The insect alien watched with growing confusion as Tamin opened secret compartments filled with weapons and equipment. "I do not understand." Buzzik clicked nervously. "Your species told the council these were cargo ships." Tamin smiled as he connected power cables to a plasma cannon. "They are cargo ships. They just carry different types of cargo when needed." "But the council said humans were peaceful." Buzzik's wings buzzed with worry. "You never fight wars." "We prefer not to fight," Tamin explained while testing the weapon systems. "But preferring peace and being unable to make war are very different things." He pulled up technical specifications on his screen. The numbers made Buzzik's compound eyes go wide. The weapon power, the armor thickness, the engine capabilities. Everything was far beyond what humans had shared with the Galactic Council. "How long have you been building warships?" Buzzik asked. "Since the day we met the first alien species," Temin answered honestly. "Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. That's an old human saying." Meanwhile, on the research ship HSS Discovery, Dr. Unali was giving a briefing to the command staff. She stood in front of a large screen showing detailed information about Ravager biology and psychology. "The Ravagers have 3 major weaknesses," she began. "First, their thick skin makes them slow in cold environments. Second, their pack hunting behavior breaks down when they can't communicate. Third, their warrior culture makes them predictable in combat." Commander Jiwoo Park studied the information. "How long have you been researching this?" 15 years, Dr. Yuna replied. "Ever since we heard the first reports about Ravager attacks, we've been collecting data from every encounter, every survivor report, every piece of wreckage." The officers around the table looked surprised. For 15 years, while the council thought Dr. Yuna was doing peaceful biological research, she had been preparing for war. "We also have detailed files on every Galactic Council species," she continued. "Their military capabilities, their trade routes, their colony locations, their political structures. Why? Asked a young lieutenant. Dr. Yuna's expression became serious. Because peace only works when everyone wants it. The moment someone decides they want war instead, you need to be ready. Back on Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was receiving troubling reports. Their observers were sending messages about human ships revealing hidden weapons. The peaceful traders and explorers were becoming something else entirely. Vexstar read the reports with growing alarm. This makes no sense. Our intelligence said humans had only basic defensive capabilities. Our spies have been watching them for decades. Mordok buzzed angrily. How could we miss military technology this advanced? Kluvik's crystal body flickered. With confused colors, perhaps our spies were seeing exactly what humans wanted them to see. The truth was starting to dawn on the council members. For 30 years, humans had been playing a careful game. They showed only peaceful activities while hiding their true capabilities. Every trade mission had mapped alien territories. Every cultural exchange had studied alien weaknesses. Every diplomatic meeting had gathered intelligence. Ambassador Heian Choi requested an emergency meeting with the council leadership. He walked into the private chamber with the same calm smile he always wore. But now that smile seemed different, somehow more dangerous. Honored council members, he said politely. I understand you have questions about recent human activities. Vexta slammed his clawed hand on the table. You lied to us. You said you were peaceful. We are peaceful, Heian replied calmly. We have never attacked another species without cause. We have never started a war for territory or resources. We have always tried diplomacy first, then explained the weapons. Mordok's wings buzzed loudly, explained the hidden military technology. Heian reached into his briefcase and pulled out several data chips. He placed them on the table in front of the alien leaders. These contain detailed information about your military forces, he said quietly. Ship designs, weapon capabilities, base locations, supply routes, communication codes. The alien leaders stared at the chips in horror. The Saurian Empire has 150 warships, mostly concentrated around your home system, Heian continued. The Zephyrian Hive has superior numbers but weaker individual ships. The Nexus Collective relies on energy shields that can be overloaded with the right frequency. Vexter's yellow eyes went wide. How do you know this? The same way we know that Saurian troops need high-temperature environments to fight effectively. The same way we know that Zephyrian communication uses pheromone signals that can be jammed. The same way we know that Nexus Collective crystals shatter at specific sound frequencies. Heian's smile never changed, but his words sent chills through the alien leaders. For 30 years, you have welcomed human diplomats, traders, scientists, and tourists. You have shown us your worlds, your technology, your culture. You have shared your knowledge freely because you thought we were harmless. He leaned forward slightly. You were wrong. Mordok's voice was barely a whisper. You have been preparing to fight us. We have been preparing to fight anyone, Heian corrected. We learned long ago that the galaxy is not always a peaceful place. We chose to be ready. Kluvik's body flickered with fearful colors. What do you want from us? Nothing you were not already willing to give, Heian replied. We want peace, trade, and mutual respect. But now you understand that these things are our choice, not our only option. He stood up and collected his data chips. The Ravagers will learn this lesson soon. I suggest you remember it as well. As he walked toward the door, Vexstar called out desperately. What happens if the Ravagers defeat you? Heian paused at the doorway and looked back with that same calm smile. They won't, he said simply. The door closed behind him, leaving the alien leaders alone with a terrifying new understanding. The humans they had thought were weak and peaceful were actually something much more dangerous. They were predators who had chosen to be civilized, and now those predators were going hunting. The human defense fleet waited in the Kepler sector like ghosts in the darkness. Captain Minho Kim watched his tactical display from the bridge of the HSS Defender. 50 human warships hung in space, their running lights turned off, their engines running silent. Contact reported, his sensor officer. Ravager fleet approaching. 120 ships, moving in standard attack formation. Minho nodded calmly. The Ravagers had more ships, but numbers were not everything in war. Signal, all vessels begin Phase 1. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council watched the battle through long-range sensors. They expected to see the human fleet destroyed quickly. The Ravagers were famous for their brutal efficiency. No military force had ever stopped them. Vexstar leaned forward in his chair. The humans are outnumbered more than 2 to 1. This will be over in minutes. But something strange happened. As the Ravagers closed in, the human ships did not run away. Instead, they spread out in a complex pattern that seemed random but somehow felt planned. What are they doing? Mordok buzzed with confusion. That formation makes no sense. The first Ravager ships opened fire with their heavy plasma cannons. The deadly energy beams lit up space as they streaked toward human targets. But the human ships were no longer where the Ravagers had aimed. They had moved with perfect timing, slipping between the energy blasts like dancers avoiding raindrops. Captain Minho Kim smiled as enemy fire passed harmlessly by his ship. Temin's modifications are working perfectly, he said to his crew. The Ravagers are aiming where we were, not where we are. In the engineering section, Team in SEO monitored his special system. He had studied Ravager weapons for years, learning exactly how long it took their targeting computers to lock on and fire. His modifications let human ships predict where the enemy would shoot and move away just in time. Buzik watched this, he said to his Zephyrian colleague. He pressed a button and the ship seemed to flicker in space, appearing to be in 3 different places at once. Impossible, Buzik clicked with amazement. Your ship is creating false sensor images. Holographic projectors, Taman explained. The Ravagers see 3 targets but only one is real. They waste 2/3 of their shots on ghosts. The human fleet began to fight back. But they did not attack randomly like other species did. Every shot was carefully planned, every movement had a purpose. They fought like a single organism with 50 minds. Dr. Unali watched the battle from the HSS Discovery. Her biological research was being put to deadly use. Target the lead ship's communication array, she ordered. Ravagers cannot fight effectively when separated from their pack. The human ships fired special weapons that did not try to destroy Ravager vessels. Instead, they sent out electromagnetic pulses that scrambled communication systems. Within minutes, the Ravager fleet could no longer coordinate their attacks. Now they will panic, Dr. Yuna said calmly. Ravagers are pack hunters. Without communication, they become frightened and make mistakes. She was right. The Ravager ships began attacking wildly, sometimes hitting each other in their confusion. Their disciplined formation fell apart as individual captains tried to fight alone. Commander Jiwoo Park coordinated the human response from his command ship. He had studied every battle the Ravagers had ever fought. He knew their tactics better than they did. Group Alpha forced them toward the asteroid field. He ordered, Group Beta, prepare for the pincer movement. Group Gamma, get ready to cut off their retreat. The human ships moved like wolves herding prey. They did not try to destroy the Ravagers quickly. Instead, they pushed them exactly where they wanted them to go. The Galactic Council watched in shock as the supposedly peaceful humans revealed their true nature. These were not desperate defenders fighting for survival. These were skilled predators playing with their food. How are they doing this? Kluvik's crystal body flickered with frightened colors. The Ravagers have conquered 12 star systems. They have never been defeated. The humans are not fighting like other species, Vexstar realized with growing horror. They are hunting. In space, the battle continued with deadly precision. Teman SEO's technological tricks kept human ships safe while Ravager weapons missed their targets. Dr. Yunali's biological knowledge turned Ravager strengths into weaknesses. Captain Minho Kim's tactical skills made every human shot count. But it was Commander Jiwoo Park's strategic mind that turned the battle into a slaughter. He did not just want to win, he wanted to send a message to the entire galaxy. Signal the Ravager flagship. He ordered, open a communication channel. The massive Ravager command ship appeared on his screen. Its captain was a huge gray alien, with scars covering his face and arms. He had never lost a battle in 20 years of conquest. Human weakling, the Ravager captain snarled. You delay the inevitable. We will take your colonies and sell your people as slaves. Commander Jiwoo Park looked at the alien with cold, calculating eyes. You misunderstand the situation. You are not attacking our colonies. You are not conquering our territory. You are dying in our trap. The Ravager captain's expression changed as he realized what was happening. His fleet was surrounded. Human ships had herded them into the asteroid field where they could not maneuver. There was no escape. Impossible, he growled. You are a peaceful species. You do not make war. We do not make war lightly, Commander Park corrected. But when we make war, we make it completely. He gave a signal, and the human fleet unleashed their full firepower. The weapons that had been carefully controlled before now showed their true power. Ravager ships that had seemed invincible began to break apart under the assault. Dr. Yunali had prepared special surprises. Her research into Ravager biology had revealed that their thick skin, which protected them from most weapons, had a fatal weakness. At very specific temperatures, it became brittle like glass. The human ships fired cryogenic weapons that flash-froze sections of Ravager hulls. Then they followed up with kinetic rounds that shattered the frozen armor like it was made of ice. Taemin SEO's engineering genius showed itself in other ways. He had created weapons that did not just damage ships, they made them suffer. Electromagnetic scramblers turned Ravager life support systems against their crews. Sonic disruptors made the aliens' own heartbeats painful. Please, the captain begged as his ship began to fall apart around him. We surrender. Show mercy. Commander Jiwoo Park's expression did not change. You showed no mercy to the colonies you destroyed. You gave no quarter to the innocents you enslaved. Why should we treat you differently than you treated them? The Ravager captain realized he was dealing with something he had never encountered before, a species that could be both civilized and completely ruthless. What do you... he whispered. Commander Park smiled. But it was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator that had been pretending to be prey for far too long. We are human, he said simply, and you just learned why that should terrify you. The battle ended with devastating completeness. Of the 120 Ravager ships that had entered the Kepler sector, only 15 survived. They fled into hyperspace, carrying word of their defeat to the rest of their fleet. But the real message was not sent to the Ravager. It was sent to every species in the galaxy that was watching. Humanity had taken off its mask. The peaceful traders and diplomats were gone. In their place stood something ancient and deadly, apex predators who had learned to use tools, tactics, and technology with terrifying efficiency. The galaxy would never see humans the same way again. The Ravager surrender came exactly 96 hours after Commander Jiwoo Park's final ultimatum. It was not a negotiation or a plea for mercy. It was total, complete capitulation from a species that had never known defeat. Human command. This is Warlord Gractor of the Ravager Empire. The transmission began. The massive alien leader who had conquered 12 star systems now spoke with a broken voice. We surrender unconditionally. Please stop the hunting. Captain Minho Kim stood on the bridge of the HSS Defender, watching as Ravager ships powered down their weapons across 3 star systems. After 6 months of systematic terror, the enemy fleet was surrendering without firing another shot. Signal all human vessels, he ordered. Begin prisoner processing operations. The Galactic Council had expected chaos and confusion as humans tried to handle thousands of enemy prisoners. Instead, they watched with growing unease as the humans demonstrated a level of organizational efficiency that bordered on terrifying. Processing stations appeared as if from nowhere, massive space structures that could handle entire ship crews. At once the Ravagers were sorted, catalogued, and assigned to work details with mechanical precision. Taman Essie supervised one of the processing centers from the engineering deck of HSS Efficiency. His Zephyrian colleague Buzek watched in horrified fascination as the humans demonstrated their preparation. You built these prison facilities in advance? Buzek asked, his wings trembling. Of course, Taman replied casually. We have been planning for this possibility for decades. Food production, waste management, medical care, work assignments, everything needed to handle large numbers of prisoners. He pulled up blueprints on his screen. We can process up to 50,000 individuals per day through each facility. We have 12 facilities operational and parts for 20 more in storage. Buzek stared at the numbers in disbelief. You were prepared to capture entire civilizations. We were prepared for any outcome, Taman corrected. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Remember, Dr. Yuna Lee was conducting interviews with captured Ravager leaders, but these were not interrogations. They were psychological evaluations, designed to understand how an entire species could be rebuilt from the ground up. The key is breaking their warrior culture, she explained to her research team. Ravagers define themselves through conquest and violence. Remove those concepts and you can reshape their entire society. She showed them footage of Ravager prisoners working in the human facilities. The aliens who had once terrorized the galaxy were now learning peaceful trades, farming, manufacturing, art, and science. We are not punishing them, Dr. Yuna continued. We are educating them, teaching them that strength comes from creation, not destruction, that success comes from cooperation, not conquest. Her assistant Jiho looked troubled. Doctor, is this not exactly what they did to their own prisoners? Forced labor and cultural reprogramming. Dr. Yuna's expression became serious. The difference, Jiho, is that we are teaching them to be better than they were. They taught their prisoners to be slaves. We are teaching our prisoners to be citizens. Meanwhile, Captain Minho Kim was conducting what humans called goodwill patrols through council space. His fleet of supposedly peaceful ships visited every major alien system, ostensibly to ensure that no remaining Ravager cells posed a threat. But the real purpose was much simpler, to remind everyone who was really in charge now. The patrol fleet would arrive at a system, conduct polite scans of all ships and stations, then move on to the next target. They never threatened anyone. They never made demands. They simply demonstrated that humans could reach any location in the galaxy whenever they chose. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council was in emergency session once again, but this time, the atmosphere was very different. The alien representatives spoke in whispers and kept glancing nervously at the empty chairs where the human delegation would normally sit. They have requested another meeting, Vexter announced, his reptilian voice shaking slightly. Ambassador Hayun Choi wishes to address the council about future galactic security arrangements. Mordic S-Wings buzzed with anxiety. What do you think they want? I think, Kluvik said with colors of deep worry flickering through his crystal body. They want to make sure we understand the new reality. When Ambassador Hayon Choi entered the council chamber, he was accompanied by Commander Jiwoo Park and Dr. Yuna Lee. The 3 humans walked with the same calm confidence they had always shown. But now that confidence felt different, more dangerous. Honored council members, Ambassador Hyan began with his characteristic polite smile. Humanity wishes to discuss the future of galactic peace and security. He activated a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Former Ravager territories were now marked in blue under human protection. Trade routes that had been dangerous for decades were now completely safe. The Ravager threat has been eliminated, he continued. Their empire has been dismantled. Their prisoners have been freed. Their stolen goods have been returned to their rightful owners. Vextar found his voice first. The Council is grateful for humanity's efforts in ending this threat. Grateful, Commander Park repeated thoughtfully. An interesting word choice. Dr. Unili stepped forward. During our campaign against the Ravagers, we discovered some disturbing information. It seems that several Council species knew about Ravager activities but chose not to act. She displayed intelligence reports showing that some alien governments had been trading with the Ravagers, buying stolen goods and even purchasing slaves from conquered worlds. The Saurian Empire bought artwork from 12 different cultures. She read from her notes. The Zephyrian Hive purchased rare minerals taken from destroyed colonies. The Nexus Collective acquired advanced technology through Ravager intermediaries. The accused species began making excuses, but Ambassador raised his hand for silence. We are not here to assign blame, he said calmly. We are here to ensure this never happens again. He activated another display showing human fleet positions throughout the galaxy. The peaceful trading ships were gone, replaced by the stark, the reality of military vessels stationed in every major system. Humanity has decided to take a more active role in galactic security, the ambassador continued. We will be establishing permanent bases in strategic locations to monitor for threats. You mean occupation forces, Mordok whispered. We prefer the term peacekeeping forces, Commander Park corrected with a cold smile. But call them what you like. The council members exchanged frightened glances. They were witnessing the birth of a new galactic order, one where humans held ultimate authority. What you require from us? Kluvex asked, his crystal body flickering with submissive colors. The same thing we have always required, Ambassador Hayon replied. Peace, trade, and mutual respect. The difference is that now you understand these are not requests. Dr. Unili presented each council member with a datapad containing new security protocols. These guidelines will help ensure galactic stability. Regular security inspections, standardized trade monitoring, and cultural exchange programs. The aliens read through the requirements with growing dismay. The humans were not conquering them directly, but they were making it clear who would be making the important decisions from now on. Is this negotiable? Vexter asked desperately. Commander Park's expression remained unchanged. Everything is negotiable. But consider carefully what you choose to negotiate. The galaxy has seen what happens to those who choose violence over diplomacy. He gestured toward the star charts showing former Ravagers' space. Their empire lasted 200 years. It took us 6 months to destroy it completely. The message was clear. Cooperation was optional, but the consequences of non-cooperation were not. As the meeting concluded, Ambassador Hyun Choi stood to address the council one final time. Before we leave, I believe there is one question that needs to be answered. He looked around the table, meeting the eyes of each alien representative. Earlier you asked how long humans have been capable of this level of warfare, Commander Park. Gave you a partial answer, but I think you deserve the complete truth. The council members leaned forward, dreading what they were about to hear. We have been capable of destroying civilizations since before we met any of you, Ambassador Hayon said quietly. We had weapons that could crack planets, diseases that could sterilize star systems, machines that could strip entire worlds of life. He paused to let that information sink in. For 30 years, we chose not to use these capabilities. We chose diplomacy over destruction, cooperation over conquest, peace over power. The surviving Ravager ships fled through hyperspace, carrying tales of terror back to their main fleet. But they did not escape alone. Hidden human ships followed them like shadows, tracking their every movement through space. Captain Minho Kim studied the star charts in his command center. Red lines showed Ravager supply routes. Blue markers indicated their hidden bases. Green dots marked their staging areas. For 20 years, the Ravagers had built a secret empire of conquest. Now, humans knew where everything was. Signal from Commander Park, reported his communications officer. We are authorized to begin deep strike operations. Minho smiled coldly. The Galactic Council thought the battle at Kepler Sector was over. They were wrong. It was just the beginning. On the bridge of HSS Phantom, Temin Seo put the finishing touches on his latest creation. He called it the Fear Protocol, a system that would turn the Ravagers' own communication networks against them. Buzik, come look at this, he said to his Zephyrian colleague, who had been growing more nervous each day. The insect alien approached carefully. What does it do? It records the sounds of Ravagers' ships being destroyed, Taman explained cheerfully. Then it broadcasts those sounds on all Ravager communication frequencies. Their own screams, the noise of metal tearing apart, the final messages of dying crews. Buzik's wings stopped moving entirely. That is psychological warfare. Yes, Taman nodded. Humans have found that fear is often more effective than bullets. Why destroy 100 ships when you can make 1,000 ships too scared to fight? He activated the system and suddenly the bridge filled with horrible sounds, the screams of Ravager crews, the grinding of torn metal, the explosive decompression of dying ships. It lasted only a few seconds, but Buzik was shaking when it ended. You will broadcast this to enemy fleets, the alien asked weakly. Every hour on the hour, Temin confirmed, along with casualty reports, survivor accounts, and detailed descriptions of what we did to their ships. By the time we actually attack them, they will already be defeated. Meanwhile, Dr. Yuna Lee was working on an even more disturbing project aboard the HSS Discovery. She had been studying the psychological profiles of Ravager leaders, learning how their minds worked. The key to destroying the Ravager Empire is not killing all their warriors, she explained to her research team. It is breaking their belief that they are invincible. She showed them recordings from the Battle of Kepler Sector, but these were not normal battle footage. They were edited specifically to highlight Ravager failures and human superiority. We will send these videos to every Ravager base, she continued, but not as propaganda, as educational material. We will pretend to be helpful, teaching them how to fight humans more effectively. Her assistant, a young human named Jiho, looked confused. But doctor, won't that actually help them? Dr. Yuna smiled in a way that made Jiho uncomfortable. The advice will be completely wrong. We will teach them tactics that play directly into our strengths. They will follow our instructions and make themselves easier to defeat. She pulled up another file. We will also send them detailed technical specifications for advanced weapons that will actually damage their own ships when used. They will think they are upgrading their fleet, but they will be sabotaging themselves. The human fleet began its campaign of terror with surgical precision. They did not attack randomly like other species might. Instead, they struck at carefully chosen targets that would cause maximum psychological damage. Commander Jiwoo Park coordinated the operations from his mobile command post. He had divided the Ravager Empire into sections and assigned each one a specific type of destruction. Team Alpha will eliminate their supply depots, he ordered. Make sure some survivors escape to spread word of the attack. Team Beta will target their communication relays, but leave them partially functional so they can hear the Fear Protocol broadcasts. Team Gamma will hunt their patrol fleets, but let a few ships escape each time. His officers understood the strategy immediately. They were not trying to destroy the Ravager Empire quickly. They were trying to destroy it slowly, letting fear and despair spread through enemy ranks like a plague. The first attack came at the Ravager supply base in the Omega Nebula. Captain Minho Kim's ships emerged from hyperspace without warning, their weapons already charged and ready. The base defenders barely had time to raise their shields before human weapons tore through them. But these were not the same weapons other species used. These were designed specifically to create the maximum amount of terror. Team NSEO's sonic disruptors made the Ravager ships scream as their hulls were torn apart. Dr. Yuna Lee's temperature weapons flash froze sections of the base, then shattered them with kinetic rounds. The combination created a light show that could be seen from distant star systems. This is Ravager Base Omega. A desperate voice transmitted on all frequencies. We are under attack by human forces. They are not fighting like any species we have encountered before. The transmission cut off as the base's main reactor exploded. But some Ravagers did escape, exactly as planned. They carried word of the attack to other bases, spreading fear and confusion through the enemy ranks. The psychological warfare proved devastatingly effective. Ravager crews began to panic when human ships appeared on their sensors. Some surrendered immediately, others fled without firing a shot. A few even attacked their own allies in their terror. Dr. Yuna Lee monitored enemy communications with growing satisfaction. Fear levels are rising faster than projected, she reported to Commander Park. Ravager morale is collapsing across multiple sectors. Excellent, the commander replied. Begin Phase 2. Phase 2 was even more terrifying than Phase 1. Human ships began hunting individual Ravager vessels like wolves stalking prey. They would track a single ship for days, staying just at the edge of sensor range. Before moving in for the kill. Captain Minho Kim perfected this technique during a hunt in the asteroid belt of Sigma Prime. His target was a Ravager heavy cruiser that had been carrying stolen artwork from conquered worlds. Signaled the enemy ship. He ordered, tell them we know what they have stolen. Tell them we know who they took it from. Tell them we are coming to collect. The psychological pressure was immense. The Ravager crew knew they were being hunted, but they could not see their hunters. They knew humans were somewhere in the asteroid field, but sensors could not locate them exactly. For 3 days, the Ravagers jumped at shadows. They fired at asteroids, thinking they saw human ships. They changed course randomly, trying to escape pursuit. They sent desperate messages begging for help. On the 3rd day, Captain Minho finally attacked, but by then the Ravager crew was so terrified that they barely fought back. They surrendered after the first exchange of fire. Please do not kill us, their captain begged. We will return what we stole. We will never attack human colonies again. Captain Minho looked at the alien with cold eyes. You misunderstand. This is not about what you stole from us. This is about what you stole from others. He transmitted a list of the Ravager ship's crimes: the colonies destroyed, the innocents enslaved, the cultures erased. You will stand trial for these crimes. But first you will help us find the rest of your fleet. The broken Ravager captain agreed immediately. giving up the locations of hidden bases and secret supply routes. Fear had turned him into a traitor to his own species. This pattern repeated across the galaxy. Human forces did not just defeat their enemies, they turned them against each other. Ravager crews began surrendering classified information in exchange for mercy. Some even offered to help humans attack their former allies. Commander Jiwoo Park watched the reports come in with grim satisfaction. The Ravager Empire is eating itself alive, he told his staff. Fear is more contagious than any disease. But the most terrifying part was still to come. Humans had not just learned where the Ravager bases were, they had learned where the Ravager homeworlds were, and they were coming. The message went out on all frequencies. In every language the Ravager understood. This is Commander Jiwoo Park of the Human Defense Force. Your empire of conquest has ended. Your fleets are broken, your bases are destroyed. Now we come for your worlds. Surrender now, or face the consequences of your choices. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what humans would do next. The peaceful traders and diplomats were truly gone. In their place stood something ancient and implacable, predators who had tasted blood and found they liked it. The hunt was almost over, and the prey was running out of places to hide.